Kizazi Moto Generation Fire is an action-packed animated anthology which draws on the continent's rich and diverse histories and cultures. The animation film, exclusive to Disney Plus, features stories from Egyptian, Kenyan, Nigerian, South African, Ugandan and Zimbabwean creators. Earlier, I got a chance to speak to some of the creatives about the project.
Open your eyes.
The entire intention was to present as many voices as we could and get a real picture of the breadth of talent and ideas across the continent.
Now, African storytelling has a long tradition of conveying morals and life lessons. How does Kizazi Moto Generation Fire incorporate these storytelling mechanisms, if you will? Is it something that was part of what you did? Was that the ultimate objective or one of the objectives?
I think it depends on the film, but I think ours definitely falls into that category. I think ours had something to say about conflict, which is a big thing across the continent. There's lots of countries that have civil wars raging. There's a lot of xenophobic violence in South Africa. We obviously come from a history of conflict with apartheid here, and it's about seeing our shared humanity. And then I think the other theme is the power of our shared history. A lot of people on the continent have lost their stories of where they come from, who they are, and within those stories there's a lot of answers that help us deal with the problems that we have now. And so, those are kind of the things that we play with in our film. So I would definitely say that ours definitely is trying to say something about the modern state of where we are as a continent, as a people, as a human race, and kind of some of the things we can look to try and help get us to a better place. But I think it'll be different for each film. Not all of them had that kind of thing. Some of them had more than ours, but ours definitely did, yeah.
I still had the same kind of questions, but I decided to answer them in an absurd way by making social media, be the answer to your popularity or even of God status. And there's a sense of greed and overindulgence and opulence that's still happening in Africa and from the world looking at Africa. And I don't want to... Well, it was also part of the goal of the anthology, sci-fi, Afro-futurist with a hopeful outlook. But I still, even if the hopeful part was not part of the brief, I still would have written a similar story in the sense that it wouldn't be and the world explodes at the end. It would be, a more optimistic outlook of the future.
We are headed to the big leagues, Giant! From the ruins of great Zimbabwe!
You are pioneering in a time where social media is such a powerful tool, and our own African youth are grasping, if you will, onto cults, if you will, so if it's K-pop or whatever it is that's happening across the globe. Is this our opportunity to own the narrative and to deliver a message that is African for our own African audiences primarily, and obviously allow it to spread to the rest of the planet?
Personally, I think it happened the best possible way, because Disney gave us the space to really pitch our own stories, say what we wanted to say. They never came in, they gave us a rough boundary like sci-fi and whatever, but in terms of the kind of stories you saw, those are African stories in the purest sense. And so I think as the first salvo to go out there, Kizazi Moto is the best possible version of it, because it is unashamedly African. But I think for us to get to that point where we see like a bigger movement and like the cult thing that you're talking about, I think we need more of these things to happen. We need more shows, we need more feature films, we need more stuff coming out of the continent that is as real as this is. And then I think we'll begin to see a picture coalesce of this bigger movement, you know what I mean? I just feel like we're the beginning of that. But there's a lot more work that needs to come in, a lot more creators that need to join us, a lot more support that needs to come in from all over the world to just make sure that, eventually people will see, at least from an animation perspective, stuff coming out of Africa in the same way that they see anime coming out of Japan, as a very distinct, clear thing that is wholly of the place that it comes from.
I should be out there making them pay! Move?
Now, representation matters, especially in animation. So how does Kizazi Moto Generation Fire contribute to what are the positive portrayal and empowerment of African characters, particularly for African children? Because I'd like to think that for all the kids that will watch the multiple films, that you want them to draw something positive from it.
All 10 short films are from Africa, you know, like there's so many different characters. Even if a kid feels like they want to be a villain, they can watch Sosabama and look at, like, I want to be those squid people. There's so much to take from. Like, finally, actually, there is so much to choose from. Instead of like in anime was that one black character and that's who you have to choose because it's the only one. Or in Power Rangers, where there's the one black guy in the black suit and he's an elephant. And okay, I guess I'm Zack. You know what I mean? So now they have the choice. And we don't want to make the choice for them. It's up to them now.
You chose this fate.
You think that's fast? Watch this.
Alright, let's play. Ready to meet your ancestors?